Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC Channel 3 and the WKYC Plus app. Guys, the trade deadline in the NBA is less than 2 weeks, February the 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when the trade deadline is. The Cavs, as we know, are in the second apron. I believe they're the only team in the second apron.
They are.
What that means, without getting too convoluted for the fans who don't understand, it just makes it much more complicated to make a trade, to keep it simple.
It means
will
not
they
happening.
be buyers or sellers, or will they stand pat? G. Bush.
Listen, I think I've always said, you know, the Cavs they are who they were when they got here this season. When they got in that second apron, they made the move Jason talks about all the time. They went and got DeAndre Hunter. They're the most expensive team in the league. He's been talking about the aprons for a long time, and the Cavs are here. They may make a move to try to shed a little and get under the second apron. Lonzo Ball hasn't worked out too well. He can't shoot. I'm looking around at the rest of the roster. Dean Wade has been maybe moved. The Cavs who are who they are. Like, they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to turn it on. They're going to have to play more consistent basketball. Their defense in terms of stopping three-pointers is tough. Now, they're Jekyll and Hyde a little bit, because you watch this game, believe it or not, the Hornets do a great job of knocking down threes, and they get open threes a lot offensively. And the Cavs did a really good job in the first half of stopping them and slowing those guys down. But they need to shoot the ball better. They need to stop the three better, more intensity, and more than anything, it's getting healthy in the second half. So with that long-winded answer, no, the Cavs aren't going to do anything because they can't. They got the squad that they got. Jason?
Buy, sell, stay the same.
Yeah, I think they stay the same, but I thought that in 2018, and Kobe tore apart half the roster on deadline day, and I didn't think that was possible, and they made some moves that I didn't see coming. So I got that in the back of my head when I say I think that they're going to stand pat again, because but the rules of the game are different now than they were back then. And
yeah.
I think they are who they are. I think they're a good team when they're motivated and healthy. And I think that they just have to hope that comes together for them in April and May. And I know it sounds kind of foolish to say they got to get lucky, but I think they got to get lucky with some of this health stuff. Obviously, but there's no great move out there to make right now.
Yeah, it seems unlikely they're going to make a massive move, a significant game-changing move. But are they more likely, if, let's say they do something, is it more likely to be a move strictly to get under the second apron, or is it likely a move not concerned about the second apron, just a potentially maybe a small move to get them a little better? I mean, if that's possible.
I don't think the move to get under the second apron then allows you to make other moves.
Okay.
So I don't know that.
See that?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, the timing on that is difficult, because they got to make a couple of moves. Just dumping Lonzo doesn't get them under the apron. Right. So you got to make a couple of moves to get under the apron, and now you can make the moves you want to make. You see what I'm saying?
That's a lot of moves to make in not a lot of time. Yeah.
That's why I think this summer you're going to see changes to this franchise.
Right.
If they don't get it done this year, then you can start having conversations about, okay, what do they have to do? What do they need to change? Who do they need to pull out? But right now, I just think you're in the middle of it, man. You are who you are at this point. You built this team to win. You got to see this out, and then assess what happens this year in the playoffs, and then this summer is when they would make changes.
If they were completely healthy, I would. You could see a way where you could just say play better, because they got Sam Merrill, Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter. If he plays a little more consistently, shoot the ball better.
Yeah.
You know, better health with Mobley and some of the other guys. Larry Nance Jr. hasn't played all that much this year. If you had all the pieces and parts together, you can see where they have an opportunity to be a team that's well-rounded. However.
Yeah, they're an injury-prone team. Go ahead, Mike. You got something for us on this?
Well, yeah, they're $22 million into the second apron.
Yeah.
So to get under the second apron, the only contract they can trade and get nothing back would be like a DeAndre Hunter or above. So one of the core four or DeAndre Hunter. Allen actually does not make enough money to qualify. So Hunter, Darius, Donovan.
Well, they could trade two players, couldn't they?
They can't aggregate to get out. It's a whole thing. So what I think is going to happen, I'm just going to give you my prediction, is they're going to chip off Lonzo Ball to somewhere like Utah that has cap space, take a second-round pick back, and even though that doesn't get them under the second apron, Lonzo makes $10 million in luxury tax savings by getting Lonzo off the books. It saves Dan Gilbert about $40 million, so it's about a $50 million move in terms of actual savings.
Yeah, well, none of us
get
care
rid
about
of.
that. You know, that's only helps him.
But we don't care about that. I'm just giving you what I think is going to happen because Dan Gilbert probably cares about
the one thing, like they have not been, remember they got out of the tax last year. The move to Hunter got them out of the tax. So they have not paid a tax since 2018. So if they, I hear Mike, and he's very well could be correct. If they think Lonzo can help them in the playoffs, Dan will pay the money to keep Lonzo for the playoff. Now you can have that argument of is Lonzo really going to help them? He hasn't to this point.
Yeah.
But I just because they have not been a tax team for so long, they don't have to worry about repeat offender at this point and all that stuff. I don't know that getting out of the tax or reducing, I should say, reducing the tax bill. I don't know that that's the priority at this point. But any type of move that they make, I think, is a minor around the edges.
Poor Utah. Why is always any proposed trades to dump salary for minimal picks is always Utah?